Sunday. Today is Sunday, the last day in the month of June. So you guys already know it's time for my June wrap up for the books that I read in the month of June. I have a confession to make. Y'all ready? I did not stick to my June TBR. This is the first time kind of that I did not stick to my June TBR, and I am fine with it because I don't know, for some reason for the month of June I got so obsessed with reading the books that I had on Libby, and that called for a lot of the books that I did not have in my June TBR. So, but it's okay. I still read, how many books did I read? I read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I ended up reading 10 books for the month of June. And some of them I enjoyed and some of them I just did not. I'm not gonna lie. I did not DNF them, but as far as like, did I enjoy the book? No, I did not enjoy the book. But it's just hard for me to DNF a book because I like to read so much. So I don't know. I just don't like to DNF a book. Y'all, I know y'all see me messing with my hair, but it's because like, I don't know. I put it half up, half down, and it looks like my half up, half down is not even. But I might get off camera and fix it. I don't know. But that's the reason why I'm messing with my hair. Y'all, I actually have to do the mid-year wrap up. I don't know if it actually has to be done in June, but mine will be done probably the first or second day in July. Or I might record it today. I'm not sure. But I need to do my mid-year wrap up video. I've been seeing some of the people that I follow on YouTube do their mid-year wrap up, and I thought it was very cute, very interesting, and a good way to just share with you guys like the books that really touched me, the books that I really did enjoy reading. And as you know, I am a contemporary romance and a thriller girl. I love to read those types of books, but I have been reading a lot of fantasy lately. I don't know why, but I have been getting some books of fantasy that are not like 500 and 600 and 700 pages, and I have enjoyed those books. I want to say when I jumped into Children of Blood and Bones, I think that kind of like really like tipped the cup for reading fantasies toward the end of this month. But as a matter of fact, there is another one that I read that I want to share with you guys. So I actually ended up reading 11 books in the month of June. But before I get started, y'all, of course, to my new followers, hey, how y'all doing? So glad to have y'all here. I'm so glad y'all stopped by. I am so glad y'all clicked on my channel just to see what we talk about on a normal basis on a Wednesday and a Sunday when Yolanda's Books plays a vlog on YouTube. There's a subscription button down there. If y'all click on that button, it will take y'all to like some notification bells or something like that. If you guys click on that, click on those bells, it'll let you know whenever I am here. That way you will not miss having a conversation with me, looking at the books that I've read, giving me book recommendations, and just interacting with me book-wise. So with that being said, guys, let's just get straight into this video. June wrap up. Alright guys, before I get started, there's just a few things that I would like to say. Of course, as you know, at first my channel was Yolandas Journaling because I was just so into journaling, and I just thought it was the best thing smoking, which I still think journaling is the best thing smoking. I love to journal. But when I got back into books, that just overtook journaling, and that is just what I wanted to vlog about. And I did not put journaling to the backside. I still journal, y'all. I still journal. I just don't record content on it. When I changed the name of my book, my channel, I got a few comments saying they like the name change, but they also would like to see some of the journaling things that I do. So I will try my best to give y'all some of my journaling techniques, my journaling content on when I journal. I like to memory journal. I like to just personal journal. I like to scrapbook journal. There is so many different things that I like to do with journaling. It's just like a mind soothing thing for me. And when you are journaling, y'all, you get a chance to play with crayons. You get a chance to play with paint. You get a chance to play with colored pencils, markers, glue, cutout papers, you know, stuff of that nature. And I do enjoy doing that. Like, I guess it's the inner child of me coming out, but I really do enjoy doing that, and I have not stopped journaling. This is one of the things that I use when I journal. Like, I have a lot of these travel size journaling covers that I use when I journal. And as you see, like, I have been like journaling. And like I said, I like to do all types of journal. It just depends on like things that didn't happen either at work, or like we went on a vacation, or things of that nature. That's just like this one right here is about a girl that I truly enjoy seeing when she's at work. And this is a memory journal about when she got married. Can y'all see that? So like, I just love doing things like this because you can look back on these things and you can just remember the good times that was had, and just sometimes just, you know, they are like growth things for yourself. So I'm sorry, y'all, if for the ones that actually really did want to see more of like my journaling stuff, I'm sorry that I have not been giving you guys that. So whenever y'all, like I said, whenever y'all want to see something from me, whenever y'all have any suggestions that y'all feel like will help my channel, or things that you just want to see on my channel, don't be afraid to write it down in the comments and let me know. Let me know, and we will just go from there. So that is like some of the stuff that I use when I journal. And then there's a lady, Miss Helen Colebrook. I started out following her when I first got my hands into journaling. She has just the perfect journaling videos. She has very nice supplies. She even actually has a book, Journaling Layout Ideas 101, Journaling with Purpose. That is the name of her channel. Her name is Helen Colebrook, and she really got me into journaling when I first started journaling. I actually went to BAM. I was looking for books, and I just stumbled upon her. I bought this one from Amazon, but when I was in BAM, I stumbled upon this same book in BAM, and I messaged her, and I took a picture of it. I messaged her, and I was like, you know, like, I forgot exactly what I said, but I was like, look at what I saw in BAM. And she was just so excited, you know, that I actually seen one of her books out in the community. And I just thought that was just so stinking cool. But like, this book has 101 layouts for journaling. So if you're new to journaling and you want to get into it, this right here is one of her books. So this is a perfect book that you can order off of Amazon, and it will give you 101 layouts that you can start out with to start journaling and getting your feet wet. So like, she have junk journaling layouts in here. She have project planning in here, goal settings, make a difference. Like, she have health and well-being. Like, she has so many different layouts that you guys can try and do out of this book if you are freshly new to journaling. So like I said, y'all, I will give you guys some insight on when I'm journaling, and it will be great for me too, because I love to do it, and showing you guys and getting you guys involved in it will be like such a game changer for me. And that's just like this page right here, y'all, is tools and materials. And you remember when I said like she has the best tools and material for journaling. You can get the ones she have, or you can just like get the ones that your monies can afford at that time, or you know, just whatever. Everybody will not have the same material, and everybody will not journal the same. So if your pages don't look exactly like her pages, that's fine, because you will be finding your way. I promise you, you will find your way, because that is exactly what I did. So again, y'all, let's get into this June wrap up on these books that I read. Alright guys, let's get this train rolling. So the first book, and y'all, these books are not in any particular order. I do not have them sitting up here by genre. I just have them sitting up here, and I'm gonna just pull them off and just tell you guys what the book is and how I felt about the book. So the first one is The Stillwater Girls by Mika Kent. I've never read anything by this author. The cover of this book was the best thing smoking when I seen it on Amazon, and I was like, purchase, and that's exactly what I did. And when the book came actually to my door and I pulled it out of the packaging and I looked at it, I was like, the cover lived up to its presence on Amazon. It is so pretty. But this is a thriller book. It's pretty much about two girls, 19-year-old girl named Ren and her sister Sage, and then they actually had a baby sister named Evie. They were raised in like non-civilization. Like they were very much out of date with things that, you know, go on in the normal civilization. They were like, it was like they were like in the 1800s or something like that, because they lived in a little cabin, you know, off on a frontier-like setting where, you know, they had an outhouse. They, you know, of course, had the animals. They had a cellar where they held their food and things like that. So they were living like really, really in the past. One day, a guy came to their house. Their mom had been gone, never came back. A guy came to their house portraying to know their mom. The girls were really scared, so they actually did end up escaping, and they came upon a house, and the person that was in that house, she actually opened the door for them, called the police so that the girls could get the medical attention that they needed, and she actually took them in. The end of it says, past the thicket of dread, they came upon a house on the other side of the pines. This is where Ren and Sage must confront something more chilling than the unknowable. They discover what's been hidden from them, what they're running from, and the secrets that have left them in the dark their entire life. As past months, hope vanishes. Supplies are low, livestock are dying, a brutal winter is bearing down. Then comes a stranger. He claims to be looking for the girl's mother, and he's not leaving without them. To escape, Ren and her sister must break the rule they've grown up with, never go beyond the forest. So like the back of this book really don't tell like a lot about what's going on inside the book, so I cannot tell you guys like much beyond what I just said before I read the back of this book, because then I will be telling you guys things that is not written on the back of this book. But y'all, this book was great. In the beginning of it, you will be like, why is, you know, like each chapter talking about Ren, and then another chapter talking about Nicolette, and then, you know, because you'll be like, okay, like how do these two connect? So later on in the book, it connected. And y'all, the secrets and the things that uncover after these girls and that lady connected was like, oh my God. Y'all, pick up this book, Stillwater Girls by Mika Kent. Never read this book, never read a book from this author, but she did it on this book. All right, so the next book that I'm going to share with you guys that I read is a fantasy book. Woo woo! Because y'all know I don't freak with the fantasies. But when I seen this book on, I think it was on Facebook, and I actually saw it in Walmart. I got this book from Walmart, and just the cover and the pattern, the spray edges of this book, I was like, even if you don't read this book, Yolanda, get this book for your bookshelf. So at first, that was the actual reason why I had bought this book. This book is called The Wren in the Holly Library by K.A. Linden, and another author that I have never read from, never heard of, and that is like my thing now. Like, I want to read books from people that I've never heard of, books that I've never heard of, because I just feel like it's just becoming so typical for everybody to read a book that Sarah read, to read a book that Jane read, to read, and all these books are by the same author. So I decided that I do want to read those books. Now, don't get me wrong, I will read those books. But I also want to read books by people that I have never heard of. People that I have not heard a lot of people talk about. And that has been bringing me such stinking joy. So this is a fantasy book. It's called The Wren in the Holy Library. And y'all, I gave this book a 4-star. It's pretty much just about vampires, monsters, things of that nature, magic, secret places that other people can't see, which has something to do with the magic. Girl named Carissa, I want to say is her name, and pretty much the guy named Graves. The Graves is the monster. Carol actually broke into his home to steal something, and she and him had to actually strike a bargain or a deal in order for her not to get killed and her friends not to get killed. So she struck that bargain with Graves, and things happened throughout the book or whatever, so she had to make sure that her friends were protected. She went to his home in order to live out the bargain that they had made. The circumstances of the deal, some of them she was breaking. Graves did not know it, but sometime in the book he did find out about it. But y'all, he wanted her to like steal something for him, because like with his home, according to what I'm understanding, his home, like there was something that was supposed to go off or something like that when somebody get close to his home, and it didn't with her, so he felt like it was something in her that he could use to steal something from somebody else. So that is kind of like why he wanted her and wanted to train her to do what he needed to be done. So it says, he's charming, quickly alluring, terrifying, but he knows talent when he sees it. It's just a matter of finding her prize. Now she's locked in a dangerous bargain with a creature unlike many other. She'll sacrifice her freedom. She'll offer her skills. Together they'll put their own futures at risk. But he's been playing a game across centuries, and once she joins in, there will be no escape. So it says, 13 years ago, monsters emerged from the shadows and plunged Kira's world into a catastrophic war of near total destruction. The New York City she knew so well collapsed practically overnight. So y'all, it is a scene in this book that is so stinking hot, and I was so surprised about that. And you know, after that hot scene, it just really like unraveled romance and love from that point. So with that being said, y'all, and later on in the book, when I was almost finished reading the book, that's when I figured out that the title, The Wren in the Holy Library, was pretty much kind of like describing the romance and the chance at love that these two people grew for each other during the bargaining times, the deal time, and things of that nature. So I did really like Wren in the Holy Library. Okay, the next book is a very cute book to me. It's called Once More with Feelings by Alyssa Sussman. I actually have 2 books on my shelf by her. This one is Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. I want to say that these are standalone books, y'all, because by reading the back of the book, like, I don't think they really connect, because the people that I seen in that book, I don't think on the back of that book, I didn't see their names in this book. But anyway, this was a cute little second chance at romance book to me. I gave it, I think, like a 3.5 star. It's pretty much about singers. It revolved around Kate and Cal. Before, you know, of course they were singers. Kate, relationship with Ryan was compromised because she found herself in the arms of Cal. And then, like, now, after, you know, Kate and Cal stopped doing the singing thing or whatever, acting, or now that Kate is getting back into that scene, the person who is actually over the choreography the choreography and like the scene that she is actually in is Cal, y'all. So him and her just did not hit it off. They always was arguing. They just could not get the past behind them. Her friend and like the cast of the show, you know, like they were telling them like, y'all are just being very immature. Like, the past needs to be the past. Y'all need to move on. Like, y'all are just really getting on my nerves. So at some point in time, they actually took their advice, and feelings came out that they were actually holding inside. And once those feelings came out, that's when the second chance at romance started happening for them. And y'all, that was a really cute part in this book. It was toward the end that just really made me giggle and laugh and smile. Once they actually, you know, put their differences aside, let the past be the past and things of that nature. There was a scene in here that said Kate was really telling Cal how she felt about him. And like, you know, how like she can't live without him. She just really, really cares about him and stuff like that. And it was while they were casting, or they were at that area. And he actually had a microphone on, y'all. And he had it covered up though. He had a microphone on, he had it covered up, and like the cast, the staff and everything, they heard the things that Kate was telling him. And when Kate realized that, she was just so embarrassed. But the cast was like, oh, you know, like, that was so sweet. Like, I'm so happy for you guys. And, you know, things of that nature. And like, y'all, that part just really melted my heart, because I thought that was so cute. That was so romantic. And I was just glad that it finally came down to the time that Kate and Cal actually let their feelings go and get that second chance at romance. So once more with Feelings by Alyssa Sussman. Now I really want to read the other one, Funny You Should Ask. Next book that I read, it is like a thriller mystery book, I believe. Never read a book by this author, Jessie Lowry. It's called The Quarry Girls. It's a thriller. The Quarry Girls. I forgot what I rated this book on Goodreads, but I did enjoy this book. Setting was in Minnesota in 1977. It says their sworn secrets is the first clue. So it's pretty much about teenagers. They were, you know, either they were disappearing or they were being murdered. And this girl named Heather, she and her friend Brenda, after, you know, like when the things start happening, they had start seeing some things and seeing some changes in the teenage boys that they actually grew up with. That started happening, you know, she started investigating things, and that's when, you know, she started paying attention to the things that her dad, which was a police officer, and his friend, a detective, police officer, however you want to put it. That's when she started really paying attention to, you know, like the evidence and stuff like that. And this book kind of reminded me of Good Girl's Guide to Murder, but she was very interested in why, like, some of her friends were being missing, why, you know, they have not been you know, diligently trying to find them. Like why like some of the detectives that work with her father had things in their home, and you know, this, that, and the other, and like why some of the teen boys that she used to play like in the band with in the quarry, like they were acting funny. So it was like she really did not know like some of these people in this town that she hung around with, knew of, and things of that nature, even down to her father, y'all. This book, I feel like, was greatly written. The chapters were short. You could, like I said, you could really follow what was actually going on in the book. And I just really enjoyed like the detective type work that Heather was trying to do to find out like what happened to Brenda, what happened to the other girls in the quarry that just never was talked about, never was found, never was this, that, and the other. Some parts in this book toward the end when she found out things and found out how people was this, that, and the other, it really kind of like made me mad but made me sad for her, because at that time too she was really started to be overprotective of her sister. I don't know if like this kind of stuff happens in real life. Like you're living in a town a small town that you think you know everybody because it's a small town, everybody's grown up together, and then things started happening and you realize that like you didn't know none of these people at all. Like these people have a really, really deep, bad side about them. And that is some scary shit, you know? So pretty much that was kind of like what this book was about. Lucy Folly, The Paris Apartment. I read the guest book by this author. I just did not get the guest book. I was just so confused throughout like the whole book. And when I read this book, The Paris Apartment, it was pretty much kind of the same way for me. I do know like there's different people in the book, and the different people are according to the floor that they lived on in the Paris Apartments. But as far as like, did I get anything out of this book? Did I understand this book? Do I have a... Can I tell y'all what this book is about? I actually cannot, y'all. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not going to act like I can. I did not look at Goodreads to see like what other people thought or was of this book, so that I could tell you guys something about this book. I did finish it, but I finished it mostly by listening to it on audio. I rarely picked up the book to follow along. I just did not like this book. All right, guys, moving right along. Ooh, y'all, I don't know why I did that. I just felt like doing that. But The House in the Pine by Anna Reyes. Is that how to say that name? Another book that just did not do it for me. In the very beginning of this book, y'all, I was just so confused. Aubrey was the one that mysteriously dropped dead because of being with Frank. Maya was the best friend of Aubrey. But during the book, y'all, it was like Maya was upset and mad because Aubrey was with Frank, and I think she was with Frank at one point in time, and she didn't like that Aubrey was, you know, like she was Frank's boyfriend, and you know, she was jealous about that, but she was also hurt that Aubrey was not here, like she died. But pretty much, y'all, it all just boiled down to that Frank knew hypnosis, and a lot of the things that Maya thought was happening had happened or whatever, they were actually not true. Like the house in the pines, it was not real. And that key there, that key means a lot and has a lot of meaning when you actually get to that point of making you understand the book. Because to my understanding, Frank always had this key with him. So toward the end of the book, I kind of like understood and seen why stuff happened in the very beginning of the book that I did not understand. But did I enjoy this book? I did, but I didn't. Would I read it again? No, I won't. Bam, another book. Never Have I Ever by Jocelyn Jackson. Did I say that name right? I don't know. Anyway, this was a thrifted book, but y'all, I actually found like the audio to it like on Libby. So when I found audio to it, I decided to pick it up off my bookshelf and give it a swirl. And I can say I did enjoy this book. At first, when I started reading this book, I don't think I was focused enough on it. So I think I got probably like chapter 10, 15. I decided to start over and pay more attention to this book. When I did, it made perfect sense to me. So pretty much this book is just about this girl named Amy. She was proud of her ordinary life. You know, she had a husband, she had a kid, and y'all, she was actually a part of a book club as well. So one day, another person, what was her name? Rox, I want to say, R-O-U-X. She became a part of the book club that Amy was in. First time that she was there at the book club, she actually started like making drinks for people that was in the book club and finding different things out about those people by getting them drunk. And you know, of course, when you get drunk, a lot of times things just come out. So Amy really did not like that because she felt like she was taking over the book club. And then there was something in Amy's past that was kind of bad. Of course, Amy just really wanted to leave that in the past. But this person, this person found out some things about Amy from somebody else about her technique. And when she found those things out about Amy, she basically kind of like wanted to use this against Amy to get like money, or to get money from Amy. So she brought up like everything that happened in the past, how it happened, the things that actually went on during that time. She said she was like there, and that really got Amy up and riled because the things that she was saying was true. Amy just could not understand how she knew those things because she did not know this person. And then like later down in the book, it got really heated and spicy with Amy finding out about this person, how she found things out about her, and just what her motive was and how many times she has done this same technique. So Never Have I Ever was actually a pretty good book. I did enjoy it. The next book is The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. The book that I was actually supposed to read by Megan Miranda, I did not read. How I ended up picking up this one, I don't know. But The Last House Guest was the book that I was actually supposed to read by Megan Miranda for the month of June. But I did not get to it. I will sooner or later. But this book was okay. I can't say it was terrible. It was just pretty much about some high school students and teachers that went over a ravine some time ago, and only 9 of them survived. And then one of them actually died of suicide because on the actual date that all of this happened. So after that, all the ones that was left with, I think it was 7. It's a year later after one of the survivors dies by suicide on the anniversary of the crash. The rest of them made a pact to come together each year to commence that terrible night. Their annual meeting place, a house in the Outer Banks, has long been refuge. But by the 10th anniversary, Cassidy kind of like distanced herself from the tragedy. Then after that, Cassidy, she was like the person who was ahead of like bringing them back together every year for this anniversary date. she distanced herself from the group. Like, she wanted to like get over it or whatever, but she actually gets a obituary sent to her phone. Another person hadn't died, so that left 7. That year they came back to the same place to do it all over again, and it was just suspicious that one of them, Amaya, the organizer, the annual organizer, she slipped away overwhelmingly. So like, they couldn't find her, they didn't know where she was at. Like, she wouldn't answer her cell phone, she wouldn't answer emails. And then after that, like, that's when a storm came, like roads were blocked off and this, that, and the other. So they just thought that that was just very suspicious, that she just up and just stopped answering her phone. And then after that, you know, like, all the things started happening over again, what happened before. So it says, and as they promised long ago, each survivor will do whatever he or she can to save one another, won't they? So I can't really remember like what happened at the very end of the book, but I do know like somebody was named responsible for like what happened on the day when they went over the ravine, what was actually happening like each year and things like that prior to what was happening actually on this particular night. So like, y'all, this book was kind of crazy. It was kind of crazy. It was kind of interesting. And it was kind of confusing to me at first also. So when it gets to that point and I'm listening and I'm reading the book, I have to make sure I am actually reading the pages in the book so that I won't get lost. I kind of got lost a lot in this book, but overall, once I actually like figured out what was going on in the book, I kind of understood what the book was about. But this book had some very good descriptions of like the rain, like when the vehicles went over the ravine, like, you know, it had some very descriptive parts in it, writings in it of like actually what happened. So this book really makes you feel like, or made me feel like I was like sitting right there at a TV looking at a movie. Very detailed descriptions, very nice wording in this book. So I did and I did not enjoy The Only Survivors by Megan Miranda. Let's get down to the meat and gravy of this vlog, which is the last 3 books that I read in the month of June. Next one is by an author that y'all know that I stinking love, and it is The Co-Worker by Frida McFadden. I gave this book a 5-star or a 4.5 star. I'm not quite sure what I gave it on Goodreads, but this book did not fail my attention, my thoughts, my thriller, whatever I got inside of me. It did not fail me. So basically this book is just about Dawn. She worked in an office with Natalie, and one day she went missing. Natalie was very, you know, inquisitive about like why she went missing. She started trying to figure out what happened to her, why she went missing. Dawn actually like had this fetish of turtles. I thought that was kind of weird, but not weird, and you know, like for an adult. But at first I was kind of like confused because she was always like writing a letter to somebody named Mia. At first, you know, like Seth, which was the boss, he really wasn't interested in like, you know, like Dawn not being at work when Dawn was like clockwork. But Natalie was like really concerned about what was going on, like where she was, this, that, and the other. So she went to her house. Once she went to her house, like her fingerprints and stuff was all over everything. And once the investigation actually got started, you know, like she was kind of like a prime suspect because like her fingerprints was all over stuff in her house. Like, why were you at her house? And then it all boils down to like things that happened in their past as teenagers is what really brought up what Natalie was going through with Dawn. Now, I cannot get too much more specific with that, but just know that it was a certain amount of people in this book that was setting Natalie up because of what happened and the thing that she did in her past, her and another one of her high school friends. But I really did enjoy The Coworker by Frida McFadden. And like I said, y'all, Frida McFadden never, ever not make me enjoy her books. I haven't read a Frida McFadden book yet that I did not like. The Coworker by Frida McFadden. The last 2 books that I read in the month of June. So I dipped my hand into Cheryl Lapina for the first time, even though I have a few books on my shelf of hers. And I read Cheryl Lapina, Everyone Here Is Lying. For my very first time reading a Cheryl Lapina book, I really did enjoy this book. This book was pretty much about a husband named William. He was having an affair with a person down the street from where they live. His 9-year-old daughter, Avery, unexpectedly was home from school. When William got home, due to the bad news that he got from his mistress, he lost his temper with his 9-year-old daughter, Avery. And hours after that, Avery was declared missing. And suddenly, Hope doesn't feel so safe, and William isn't the only one on his street who's hiding a lie. As witnesses come forth with information that may or may not be true, his neighbors become increasingly unhinged. Who took Avery Waller? Nothing will prepare you for the truth. So when the mom, I think the little girl Avery, she had some kind of like disability, probably, because she was like, she had some type of disability. I don't exactly know how to explain it. When they got interviewed and everything like that, the husband lied and said like he never, he didn't see Avery. He didn't know like she hadn't walked home from school, this, that, and the other. And so it boiled down to that they figured out that he lied. So now he's like a suspect in her disappearance. And then also the wife found out about the mistress, and so he had to go stay at a hotel. And then throughout all of that, different neighbors was saying that they seen Avery with this person, that person, this person. So the police was trying to like figure out what happened to Avery. So they brought everybody in that they got the little tidbit of information about. It was just a roller coaster ride, y'all. It was a roller coaster ride. And I'm not gonna say too much because I don't want to tell y'all what happened at the end. No spoilers on this channel. But Cheryl Lapina, I don't know, girl. I don't know if you'll be up there with Frida McFadden, but for my first book by you, I really did enjoy your book. The suspense, the lying, the betrayal, like the action, stuff like that. Cheryl Lapina, you did that in this book. So yes, guys, I did like Everyone Here Is Lying by Cheryl Lapina. All right, last book that I read in the month of June. It was Say You Swear by Megan Brandy. First book that I read by this author. This book was so thick, it kind of reminded me of a thriller book. I'm like, a second chance at romance, a contemporary romance book. Like, when did they get this darn thick? That kind of deterred me. I was like, hell no, I'm not reading this book, because I don't want to read a romance book that has almost 500 and something pages. But Audible did me right. And I got this on Audible, and I just went from there. Y'all, I did enjoy this book. I've seen on Goodreads that a lot of people have a lot of mixed feelings about this book. A lot of people actually did not enjoy this book, but I did enjoy the book. A lot of the stuff in this book was really repetitive between Adriana and Chase and Noah. Very repetitive, like they were just going back and forth, back and forth. And I'm like, Andrina, just make up your mind. Like, which one of these guys do you want? Pick them, choose them, and let's just move on with the scenes. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, like, Noah became my new book boyfriend. He was so sweet. He was so generous. He, you know, he loved Andrina so much that he just wanted what she wanted, what made her happy. And regardless of how he felt or anything like that. And I just thought that that was just so stinking dreamy of a person as a boyfriend. But then also I felt sorry for him because he really did love her, and he was sacrificing his love and what he wanted with her so that she can be happy with who she actually wanted to be with. But other than that, I really did enjoy this book. Like I said, this book was thick. I would not have read this book if I didn't have the audio to it. If I can't find the audio to the second book to this book, I'm sorry, I just would not read it, because that is just so intimidating for me. Books that are very, very thick are just intimidating to me. And the reason being, y'all, is because, like, what all can you say in a book this thick? Like, what all can you say in a book this thick that is just not the same thing over and over and over and over again? And it gets the reader to the point to say, like, can we get to the point? What's gonna happen next? They're gonna be together or not? Who gonna get who? What's gonna happen? Why do we have to go through this same thing over and over again? Sarah and John, they together, they not together. John and Lucy, they together, they not together. I can tolerate that to a certain extent, but I cannot tolerate 500 and something pages of that. So a romance book being this thick, would I prefer that? Would I would like to read a book of that nature? No, I would not. Alright guys, so that is the end of my June wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed that wrap up. I hope you guys enjoyed the books that I read. Tell me if you have read any of those books, and I know if y'all have, some of us probably have different thoughts on how we felt about that book. And remember, that's okay. I did not stick to my physical TBR for the month of June, and that was just so exciting for me. Like, it was good. Like, I was fine with the books that I read. I was fine that I did not read the books that I actually said I wanted to read in the month of June. I hope I said June just a few minutes ago. But I did enjoy some of those books. Some of them not so much. Some of them more than others. Of course, you know Freedom McFadden is my girl. We 2 thumbs up. Cheryl Lapina, I think she's rocking my way. I really think she's rocking my way because I love that book. And I want to say I have another book or so on my shelf by Cheryl Lapina on one of these shelves. But I would have to actually look, because if I don't, I will have to get another book by Cheryl Lapina just to compare the first book that I read by her. But guys, I hope you read all the books that you wanted to read for the month of June, if it was your TBR or if it was not your TBR. If you want to, you can drop down in the comments and tell me the books that y'all actually read and enjoyed. That will give me book recommendations. That way I can go to the bookstore. Come on. Come on, you see where I'm going. Give me a reason to go to the bookstore. But I enjoyed my June reads. I'm excited to jump over into my July reads because I'm finally getting to reading off the series books that I have on my shelves, and that is so stinking exciting for me. So guys, that is the end of this vlog. I really enjoyed y'all. I'm really glad y'all stayed. Remember, I will see y'all again on a Wednesday and a Sunday, preferably 9 a.m. So join me on those days and we'll do this all over again, and probably a little bit more. See y'all later. Love you guys. I am on my fantasy kick, so I am currently reading A Court of Thorns and Roses. I've read book 1. Fairy and Tomlin, I'm liking their little relationship already in the first book. And Fairy, she inadvertently killed a fairy, and now she has bordered into the fairy and human world. And a lot of people said that they had a hard time with the Court of Thorns and Roses. It was kind of hard to get into unless you're toward the end of the book. I really did enjoy the book, so this is my next read in the series, or Court of Mist and Fury. Happy reading.